John. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on the show, man. Really appreciate it. How's your morning been?
It's been fairly flat out. Had a swim this morning, then just got into work, and now this. So looking
Very
forward to
good. Very good. Yeah, yeah. It's should be a great chat. There's some cool things to cover. Mate, for anyone listening who's just and if you are listening, thanks for clicking on the YouTube video or wherever you're watching this. We'd really love to get a little bit of background, and like for those first few minutes, people say, why would I watch this video between John and Cameron? Just give us a bit of an idea of like, and specifically relating to fitness in business, males, businesses, you know, keeping fit in body and mind. Just give us a bit of an idea about you and a bit of background, man. That would be great.
Well, if there's anything to really sort of stand out from this conversation, having, let's say, a guy that's pretty much gone through, like he's had his 3 kids. He got married early, had kids, worked his ass off going up the corporate ladder. Didn't want to go any further up that corporate ladder, so he decided to start his own business because he wanted to spend more time with his kids. During that time, he went through a marriage breakdown, and all while still having starting the business and growing the business as well. So single dad of 3, doing all that, that would probably be a reason why.
Totally, man.
Well, just something that you sort of take out of it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, mate, that's really great. And you would, I'm sure if you've had conversations with people in the world, that those circumstances, albeit challenging and not trying to downplay what you've been through, but those things happen a lot. So that everyone's story can add so much value to others who may be going through or have just been through those situations, or maybe they're coming. Yeah. So yeah, really cool. And thanks for your vulnerability sharing that. Let's dig in, mate. How long have you been in business for?
So it's been just over 10 years now. And within that first year and a half, I was still working full time at a large transport company. And pretty much doing 12, 13 hours from leaving home to getting back home. I spent a couple of hours with the kids and the wife at the time. And then starting the business, I'd work on it from like 8, 9 o'clock at night through to like 12, go to sleep, get back up at 6, and did that for, just over a year. Because just didn't have that. So at the time, my ex-wife was on maternity leave. So she's looking after our second child at the time. So I didn't have that option to just full blown into the business straight away.
For sure.
It was, definitely burned the candle at both ends. But we got through it. Yeah.
Big time, man. That's really cool. And for reference about fitness, about, being someone that's competitive at nature, obviously you've got a background with sport. Just love a little bit of touching on that, because that's really cool.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing is without sport, I wouldn't be like without exercise, without sport, I wouldn't be here at all. Because I use that so much to build my mental strength. They coincide with each other so well, and yeah, I couldn't live without exercise and sport and fitness.
Mate, it's so valuable and can often be undervalued how impactful having a consistent exercise, sporting hobbies, whatever frame you put on it and whatever you're interested in, but having something that you can consistently do, not just for the building of your body and mind, but the outlet, which is what you're referring to. I think there is like having that thing where I can go and release that stress, build myself, challenge myself, and work through some of the grinds that we go through. Yeah, 100%. And so, mate, love a little bit of a touch base now on how I talk about, because it's fitness in business, right? So it's actually how does someone stay fit, healthy, and strong whilst managing and maintaining their business rather than this yo-yo effect that so many go through. And so I'd love to, the phrase that I use is how do you stay fit for business? How do you stay fit in body and mind? Love a bit of a look into that.
Yeah. Well, it always comes back to what you can do to make yourself confident, right?
Yeah.
We're building self-confidence, and I've always done it through sport and fitness. It's like if I can't exhaust my mind, so exhaust my body, I can't focus mentally. So it's like sport has always been that outlet to be able to exhaust myself, to then be able to focus properly, and that's I have to do that in the morning. Like I've done it in times where I wait till the afternoon because I've got so much to do. But I realise that I just procrastinate so much in the morning. If I haven't exhausted myself already, I just procrastinate and I waste so much time. So for me, I just realised I've got to do it in the morning as soon as I can, and then the rest of the day is going to be great. I'm going to feel good, and then obviously that output's going to be good on the clients and customers.
For sure.
And it's just a positive flow-on effect. So I don't want to wait till the end of the day to be able to do something great that makes me feel good. Yeah.
That's good, man. That's really good. And on the note of procrastination, I've been a massive procrastinator in the past, and it comes and goes. Like we have little moments, right? Sometimes it's a minute and sometimes it can be an hour. And then, in transparency, despite the things that we do and the progress we make, sometimes I get to the end of a week and I'm like, what was that?
Yeah.
What really, is that your effort, John? And I think those moments are the ones that help grow us. But I'd love to pry a bit on where do you notice that procrastination? Like, is it in not calling a lead? Is it in not responding to the emails? Is it like, does it come up, or is it with the kids or your partner? Like, where is it? Where does it show up for you?
Everywhere. It but like for me, sort of the general makeup of the day is like when I've got the kids, because I've got them 50-50. And it's like, it's running 2 different weeks all the time, just consistently, week after week, 2 different weeks, and we just flow on effect. But it's getting up, making sure they've got everything going for school. It's really hard to focus because I'll sit downstairs while they're getting ready, and I'll be trying to get through work, but I know that they need to make sure they're ready to go and get there to school on time and everything else. So it's like, once they're good, then I can come back, but then I will still just procrastinate in the way that I know what needs to be done. I know how to do it, but the head's fuzzy. It's like, I've got so many thoughts running around, so many things that you need to prioritise. And there's always, those things of this is how you do it, this is how you prioritise everything. But
for sure,
when you've still got 1,000 things running through that head, it's next to impossible.
100%.
But yeah, it shows up everywhere. It's like, oh, you know what, I'll do it tomorrow. When you've already got enough on your plate, you go, one more thing tomorrow, it's going to add up. And then you're going to, it's just going to pile on top, and you're not going to feel good about it.
100%. Man, it's a great answer, and I love the answer of everywhere, like, because it is, it's, and for some people, their routine, if you're listening to this, it won't, like for me, I don't prefer to exercise first thing in the morning. Mine's a mid-morning thing because that's just what works for me. And that's Cameron's route. And for Fred, Bill, Steve, Sarah, whoever's listening to this, like, you have to find your route, your way, and the thing that makes you tick. And you can only do that exactly like what a business does. You go, I'm going to test and measure this, see if it works. And if it doesn't, I need to pivot. But if it works, I'm going to really drill in on it and make sure it stays part of my routine if it's working.
Yeah,
so,
trial and error. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. And mate, do you find any other challenges with, in times, I'm sure there's been like, valleys and troughs, whatever you want to refer that, whatever that saying is.
That's
I
his business.
Yeah. But with fitness and nutrition and looking after your physical and mental health,
Yeah.
apart from like the procrastination stuff, have you had any like dips where that's dropped away, and that's become a real problem where you like can't get back into that rhythm? Because I think for someone who's listening that doesn't have that in their world, that's sometimes like, oh, how do I start? And so if you've been through the dip and then the restart, I think those little moments are valuable too, because I've had them myself as well. So
Well, I would. Always peaks and troughs. Absolutely. And even like your big things like your breakups with partners, you're having a shitty month with sales and revenue and those things. It's a tough one.
because what I find on that note, just to help stir the brain and where I'm trying to go with it is, because I can find this with myself, right? Despite being in the industry I'm in, the coach that I am, and the clients I work with, I'm always saying these things, but we're only human, right? So sometimes we drop the ball. And I think it's good to be transparent about that and not be like, oh, I'm perfect at all this shit.
No one's perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
No way. And anyone that says they are is just not correct. I was going to say liar.
Or the David Goggins. Who knows?
Yeah, that's so funny. He popped into my head and I was going to say Goggins, and then I was like, no, I won't say that. So, but that's true. Like, he probably doesn't miss a day. But talking about like dropping the ball and not showing up sometimes in fitness, nutrition, and all the things that I know, if I have all these fundamentals lined up, the other stuff isn't as hard. Like, I'm thinking clearly, I'm operating better, and I'm at the top of my game. And so where I notice it is when there's challenge with, like you said, with revenue or with decision making or client challenges and things. And if you stack enough of these things, there's an analogy of like a boat with shipping containers on it.
Yep.
And all the shipping containers are different elements of you and your life and stuff. And if they become too imbalanced, the ship starts to take on water because the boat's rocking. And so it's our job to keep them all balanced rather than letting them take over. And so I find if they start to get unbalanced and you've got a family element and a business element and a finance element and it's all a bit too much, it's easy to stop doing the little things like, I need that hour to do the emails instead of going to the gym. But the problem is then the stress builds up more because you don't have the outlet. You're not in your best shape physically and mentally. And it all starts to like spiral downwards instead of positively going up.
100%.
Yeah. And so that's kind of like, I guess my question, and we might tie it into the next one is I'd love a bit of an understanding of like, how do you, like, what's day-to-day, week-to-week look like with nutrition? Are there certain things you focus on to keep yourself like fueled well and thinking clearly?
Yeah. So the reason I usually train a lot more than maybe more people would is because I also like to eat what I want to eat.
Yeah.
And I've been very honest. Like, I've been I could do a lot better with my nutrition.
Yep.
Over the years, because I realised I could do all these things, work hard and still eat whatever the hell I want. Only recent, because I've just turned 39. Only recently have I put a lot more focus in nutrition, and I definitely feel better for it.
What changed? What were the shifts, do you think?
Might sound a little bit morbid, but there's good points behind this, right? But like turning 39, obviously you're close to 40, and then you're like, well, most people don't live, any further than 70, 80, right? And that's not a stat that I know, but like just on average, that's a good innings if you get to 80.
Yep.
So halfway there. And you realise, one, you don't recover quick enough when you get injured. And so I think almost year on year for the last 3 years, there's been better recovery sort of sessions, doing more for my body that's going to help long term, instead of realizing that, yeah, I can do this, this and this, play hard, and then I'll get over it the next day. But like, nutrition's really come in recently, and cliche, but you wish you'd done it a little bit earlier.
Yeah, interesting.
Feel heaps better for it. And I think sometimes even the harder you train, the more you want to start eating better anyway, because you're like, you don't want to let that go to waste.
100%. Yeah, big time. Yeah, that's interesting. And so, from the perspective of like, and these are like the little details sometimes that people hear and they go, oh, like for someone listening, they go, oh, I hadn't thought of that. So for example, like, do you have a bit of a structure, or like, are you quite a repetitive person? Like, I have this sort of thing for breakfast, I repeat this sort of lunch, and then do family dinner or whatever it is. Do you have some sort of structure there? And I'd love to hear a little bit about it.
There's not a lot of structure. Like, I don't eat brekkie too often. I usually like talk about intermittent fasting and all that stuff, but I'll probably start eating like from like 10, 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
But it's just a variety. Like, I never used to eat nuts, like an assortment of nuts up until this year. But like, just a bit of fruit in the morning. I've gone off coffee the last couple of months as well.
Yeah,
I feel better.
completely.
Like, I used to hated coffee to start with, and everyone else around me back in the day would drink coffee, so I would be drinking pre-workout drinks just to try and get that same stimulation. Because I did want to go down the coffee route, but then I started, loved it, and then like the start of this year, just went off coffee, and it's been amazing. But like, yeah, it's usually just fruit and nuts in the morning, and then I'll still have a decent size lunch, and I still have a decent size dinner as well. But there's no strict regime. It's just better than what I was doing before.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome. And that's probably back to my point before about you train early, I train mid-morning. It's the same with nutrition. It's finding the thing that works for the individual, which like so many people that have or haven't worked with me and other coaches and go to Google and YouTube, whatever, wherever you find your information, they want like the answer, like what should I do? And it's often from people that they've just met. It's like, well, let's try this, see if it works, and we'll pivot where we need to. And the same thing comes from Google and YouTube and whatever. Like, could be from a textbook, but until you start eating it, consistently doing it, and realizing I don't have energy, I'm bloated, I can't go to the toilet properly, I can't train, I'm not getting stronger. Like, they're the things you need to start to understand of like, this does and this doesn't work for me. Yeah. Which is really a key for anyone listening. Like, I could tell you exactly what I do. It's already on another podcast. You can go listen to it. Cameron could run through exactly what he does, but it's not going to give you the answers. It's just taking those little bits of information and going, oh, I could give that a run and hold it if it works. Yeah. And mate, I think on the note of like what doesn't work, have you had experiences where, for example, whether it's with exercise, obviously you had sporting and now you're not focused on that, you're in business, but you're still keeping fit, you're still eating relatively well, you're still obviously not an overweight person, you're a fit person. So, which some people can't say. They're just like, nah, business is taking over, man. Mentally and physically, I'm wrecked, but I'm generating heaps of money. Like,
It's a tough one to balance that. Yep.
Yeah. And so I guess my question is like, what hasn't worked for you? Like, have you used exercise in the wrong way? Have you overeaten, turned to alcohol, turned to overtraining and gotten injured, or any of those sort of elements that could add value? Or have you just been sweet with it?
No, it's always been a tough journey. What hasn't worked? Well, definitely training at night time. Like, it's like, for me, it's like, it's the one thing that makes me feel really good. And I go all day, so I'm going through the works, all through the business, and then I don't feel good up until the end of the day. Like, and I used to do that because I didn't have the flexibility to do stuff in the morning.
Yeah.
Like I wait to land, and like you get all this built up energy, and you probably be a little bit narkier to your employees and snappy, and it's not until you finish your workout, and then you're like, fuck, I feel good now. Like all that built up energy, like far out. If I just got out earlier, I could have been such a nicer person and more pleasant person with anyone in my life.
Yeah.
Good for everyone.
Totally. Yourself, your family, your clients, the whole lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Mate, it's a great point. And I'll add, like, because I have these conversations, some with clients that are struggling with it, some with people that, just come through the DMs or I hang out with in the gym, and they go, I'm not focusing on exercise at the moment because I'm just too busy. The business is just booming and I'm too busy. And it's like, that's the perfect time to make sure, well, it's always a good time, but it's a great time to lock in the calendar your exercise routine, your meal prepping, whatever you're doing, because if the excuse is like, oh, things are busy, everything's great at the moment, what do you think got you there? It was being the consistent person that showed up, that did the work, that stayed fit in body and mind. And then it's like, because I hear it so much. It's like, no, I don't have time for that at the moment, dude. I've really got to focus on over here. And it's like, you 100% need to keep this in your world somehow. And if it's that routine isn't working, change it, but don't get rid of it. Yeah, totally.
It's a tough one because you just need to stay disciplined in regards to this, and for me anyway. Because you can understand, everything's going well. You just can't. You got to have you don't need that much time. Like 15 to 30 minutes. Like sometimes when I am super busy, and I feel like I don't have 45 minutes to spend out in the gym, because I only do 45 to an hour max. If you can't do it within that, then I don't know. But
you're not working hard enough.
But like sometimes I feel like I am so busy, but I just go for a quick 3K run, and I exhaust myself, and then I can focus so much better. It's just knowing that, because if you don't, right?
Just waiting for the
If you don't, what you said before, you start reaching for your instant dopamine hit. So it's usually, for me, back in the day, it was alcohol. Because I could work from home.
Yep.
And you're so busy, you feel like you can't step away from the desk for like half an hour. You can, satisfy yourself on a couple of drinks. It's usually probably about an hour and a half anyway.
Yeah. It's interesting,
and you
isn't it?
Feel no better after.
No way. 100%. Mate, on those two notes, because they're two really big vices and two really they're things that become very deep rooted for people, is alcohol and coffee.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
And what you're drinking, but love to. Now there's a little bit of a glitch, so I'm hoping it comes back in a second. But I'll keep. Oh, there you are. On the coffee note, what happened with what was the go with the coffee? Why'd you get rid of that?
I didn't actually do it intentionally. I still enjoyed coffee, but I just got to a stage where it was weird. I just felt sick having coffees at that stage.
Interesting.
It wasn't intentional going, I'm going to stop coffee because it's not good for you. No, it wasn't that at all.
Just literally didn't feel like it. Didn't need the extra energy, and thought I'll stop it.
I was feeling good in the morning when I woke up. Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. Mate, there's such a key piece there about listening to your body and your gut and what it's saying. And like, if you don't need the food, the drinks, for some it's the drugs, for some it's coffee. Like, if you don't need it, then don't like chop it. And it's kind of the same with exercise. If something's not working, then, or you don't need it, get rid of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think people get stuck in, someone said to me a little while ago, this is really cool. I'll probably bugger this saying up too. But it was like, when people feel stuck, they forget they're not a tree and that they can move.
Yeah.
You know, like, you can pivot, you can change, you can stop, go with people, with environments, with food, with exercise. Like, you don't have to stay stuck where you are. You can make different decisions. And so that's such a good thing. And mate, the alcohol thing, that's a massive thing for a lot of people. Yeah. I've definitely drunk a lot in the past, and I maybe once a month I'll have some red wine. At the moment it's probably every 2 months, to be fair. Could even be less. But like, what was is that a work stress? Is that a reward thing, a dopamine thing when that was creeping in for you?
I think it was just more of a quick dopamine hit because I couldn't get out, and I felt like I was too busy to go out and hit the gym or go for a run. I feel like it was a cop out, I reckon, but I still use
it's the easy thing, right?
Yeah.
It's the easy thing, and
it still work while still getting that dopamine hit. It just
yeah,
it's not good.
And it's easy, but it's also unfortunately for a lot of people, it is. And please know, if you're listening to this, like I said, I've drunk plenty in the past, but so life's different now because of the decisions that I make and the vision that I have for my health, my fitness, my longevity. But that's my decision, and so. But the lesson in what you're talking about is that moment where you're sitting at home in the home office with the drink at the desk. It's a hidden thing, like, unless the family knows, but sometimes they get accepting of it. But all I'm getting at is if you're always at the pub, everyone sees you. If you're always, for some it's drugs and things like that, and if you're always going and buying from someone, they're seeing you. When you're at home, you can just think that, or in the office, you can just drink and drink and drink, and no one really knows. So it's this hidden thing. And so that brings me to an accountability piece where I'd love to, have you had, whether it's friends, family, coaches, things like that, for accountability, or are you a really self-motivated, decisive person that's just made those decisions and pivoted along the way? Like, what's that been for you?
I think most of it's been from me and also partners. No family, because I think sometimes family they don't want to make you feel bad because they love you so much, right? But they don't want to make you feel bad with that kind of stuff, so they don't sort of mention it. But like partners in the past, and just growing, just as a person, learning to listen to your body, and when your goals and everything else, your focus has changed for bigger and better things. So that'd be the main points.
Yeah, big time. That's awesome, man. Mate, I've got one more question, which funnily enough often leads to another 4, but anyway. Yeah. The what and it's so simple, but sometimes it can be really impactful. What advice would you give to someone who doesn't have a health routine? They don't keep themselves fit, they don't eat that well. They're probably on the other side of the fence where they're like, I'm still listening to this podcast 30 minutes in, but I really just need that thing that Cameron's going to say that's like, I'm going to start this journey. Like, what would that be, do you think?
Well, I would ask the question, are you happy where you are right now? Are you fulfilled? Do you feel like you're accomplishing everything you want to accomplish? If that answer is no, fucking why not just try something different? It doesn't have to be working out, doesn't have to be nutrition, doesn't have to be changing all the habits all at once. Just try one thing and see where
totally,
it goes.
Man.
See if you feel any different, because you can't lose. If you feel shit right now, and you continue to do what you're doing, you're going to feel shit. But if you at least attempt to try in one facet of your life to do something better than what you're doing right now, see how you feel. And that might lead to something else.
That's so good.
For me, it definitely wasn't an instant thing. It was a long time.
It's over time, right? Yeah. It's over so much time. That's so cool. And I talk about habit stacking. This thing was taught to me a while ago by a mentor of mine. It's just really simple, and it's like a ladder. And when you have a habit, if that's the ladder and there's no steps on it, you can't jump to the top. So you can't get up here. And you have to build one, build the next one, build the next one, and eventually you habit stack, and it builds a ladder that you can climb on and stand on because you've got all this foundation under you. Yep. And it's such a cool analogy to link one simple thing that's super achievable. It's not too much of an effort. It's different to what I'm doing now, but it's not this big stretch. And then I can add another one, and I just slowly build them over time. Yeah, and absolutely. It's amazing what you can build over months, let alone years.
Yeah, 100%.
So, no, that's awesome, man. Mate, I've really covered what we wanted to. I think there's some great value in there. And if you're still listening and you didn't get value, press replay and have another crack, because there's a lot of little good lessons. I appreciate you sharing. Any other things you wanted to cover, or anything that popped up while we were chatting about different things?
At the end of the day, like it's all about that continuous improvement. As you said, incremental changes. I don't know, just try. Like just give one sort of aspect a try. Improve it in any particular way that you can, and just work on it from there. Build on from there.
Love it, man. That's so good, mate. You mentioned the business before, but if website, is it email? What's the best way to get in contact with you for your services and find out more about you?
So with Good Choice Finance, we have email addresses, mobile phones. We've got Facebook, Instagram, and website. So I'm happy to leave those details with you after this.
You'd love to get in contact, mate. Just run us through like the elevator pitch. What do you do? Who do you help?
Okay. So our goal here is to build relationships through finance. And it's taken us a while to actually get to, we've refined our goals over the last 10 years, and most of it more recent. But I've found, since we've been going for so long now, it's been amazing where we've been able to help adults back in the day and parents to achieve their home loan goals and their dream homes and all that. But now you're seeing their kids coming to as well from buying homes and cars and their business assets as well. It's been amazing where it's not just like one lead, one person, that's it. It's you get to be. It's a privilege to be able to get a chance to be inside someone's family home and get to know everyone, and then later on, it's like you're helping their kids as well. It's a very nice thing to be a part of, and it wasn't something that I originally expected when I first started. So it's been good.
I was just waiting for that lag to catch up. I heard most of what you said. It'll link them on the end video, but that's really cool, and it's quite obvious to me, and probably to anyone listening, that you care not just about the line item and the name and the number and what money they're spitting into your bank account, but the relationships, the long-term relationships, and the value that both parties, like in any business transaction, usually, despite money mainly going one way, there's usually value that crosses both ways, and you obviously appreciate all that, which is really cool.
Absolutely, yeah.
Awesome, man. All right, I'm going to wrap us up. That was really good, and thanks for listening in. Appreciate you coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, John.
Have an awesome day.
You too.